Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, come here, booby. Gotta get little Boo Radley up here. Hold on a second. Boo Radley said, I want to be in the vlog of love. How are you, buddy? He said, Dad, this is the earliest vlog we have ever done, and the people don't even know. The people don't even know. You guys, let me just tell you, I got up so early this morning, okay? Aww. I got up so early this morning. So I came home from my meeting last night, went to my meeting with Tanya Jean. We had a great time last night at our meeting, telling stories and laughing on our way home and everything. And I bought a bunch of treats at the gas station. And then I came home and Alex had just taken a shower and was in his PJs. And so he was over on the couch playing Township, and Boo Radley was in his bed. And so I got some treats out and stuff, and a little bit of my extra leftover pasta from the night before. And I watched an episode, the newest episode of Dragula. And then when it was over, I was like, well, maybe I'll lay down for a little bit and then watch a television show, get up and watch a television show. But when I went to bed, I was like, I think I'm just going to go to bed for the night. Like, I'm just going to go to bed for the night. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to do tomorrow. Okay, hold on a second, buddy. Let's get the ottoman over here so Daddy can put his feet up. I was like, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do tomorrow. So I'm just going to go to bed for the night and then get up, get a good night's sleep, right? So I actually set my alarm like late so I could sleep a lot if I wanted to. I set it for 10 o'clock, something like that, right? I have a therapy session today at 1, and so I was like, well, if I get up at 10, then I can go make some coffee, do my meditations, take Boo Radley out, and then by 11, I can start filming some videos, and then maybe have because usually it takes me, I'd say, to sit down, film a video, start rendering it, and then getting it uploaded. It takes me about 45 minutes, and that's like a 15-minute video. To do a drama video, it usually takes me an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so I was like, well, maybe I could get 2 videos done before my therapy session. And then in the afternoon, I would just have I wanted to film videos on all of my channels today. That was my goal. And so I was like, well, maybe then in the afternoon, I wouldn't have so much to do and I could maybe take a nap and whatever. So I fell asleep. And I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and Alex was still on his phone. And I go, babe, what are you doing? You're still up? And he was like, yeah, I can't fall asleep. And I was like, I know that the hat is so bad. You guys, maybe I should wear the hat this way. No, we don't like her, do we? We don't like that. I know it's totally shading my face, but whatever. So I said, Alex, what are you doing up? You're going to be so tired in the morning. He was like, I can't fall asleep. So I was like, okay. And I fell asleep, woke up again, an hour or 15 minutes later. He was still up. I said, babe, he was playing his game. I said, babe, you have got to try to fall asleep. He was like, I know, I'm going to be so tired in the morning. Because he had to take his car in really early this morning. So then I woke up at 4:45, and I was I woke up. Each time before, I woke up for 2 minutes and then went back to sleep, and I fell right back asleep. So then I woke up at 4:45 in the morning, and I was up. And I took Boo Radley out, didn't we? Yeah, we ran around outside. It was so cold. It had been 60 degrees yesterday, and last night when Tanya and I were coming home from our meeting, it was still really warm. It was really nice outside, but it was so cold. When I woke up and took him out, it was really, really cold. So it had dropped 30 degrees overnight, and took him outside, let him run around for a little bit, and then got him snuggled back into bed. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch one show. And I thought I would watch Wednesday, but Tanya and I yesterday have been talking about this show on Netflix that had just come out called Crime Scene: The Killing Fields. And it's this new true crime documentary. It's trending at #2 on Netflix right now. And Tanya had said it was really good, but it was very sad. Y'all know I love anything true crime. Like, I can binge watch anything true crime, right? The last one was that Killer Sally, I think, that I watched. So I was like, okay, well, I want to watch this. So I sat down and I was like, I'm going to watch one episode. I was like really thirsty when I woke up for water too. Well, I had gotten two sticks of pepper jack cheese, like the wide, thick ones. I gotten 2 sticks of pepper jack cheese and some Pringles. Oh, I still have Pringles in there. Some Pringles, and then I got some Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips. So that was probably why I was craving water, because I'd eaten all that salty food. But anyway, so I was like, I'm going to watch one episode of it. So I sat down here. That was probably at like 5:15 or something, and I started watching it. They're like 45 minutes long. Anyway, I got like an episode. I was like, started watching the second episode, and Alex's alarm went off. And I looked at the clock, and I was like, oh, it's like, he's getting up to go take his car in already, because he had this tire alignment today. He had to leave the house at like 7 or something like that. Ready to be there at 7, I can't remember. So, I was like, oh God, it's like, I didn't realize like I had been watching the show for so long. So I went upstairs and I like hung out in bed and talked to him while he was getting ready. And I talked to Boo Radley, and Alex was like, can you give him his medicine, because it's too early to give him his medicine? I was like, yeah, babe, no problem. And because he always gives him his medicine in the morning. He takes him outside and gives him his medicine, and then he like gets him back into bed. So Boo Radley and I hung out in bed while Alex was getting ready and stuff, and then I came back downstairs and I was like watching. I had like 15 minutes. I don't know how much I had left of the show, but I was like watching the end of this. I think I was halfway through the second episode when Alex left, and then I was like, I looked at the clock. It was like right at 7, or it was like 7 or 7:15, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay up and watch this show. And I was like, that way I can review it later today. And at this point, I was like, I'm going to be so tired that I'm just going to go to bed. Like, I'm going to go to bed after my therapy. Because I was afraid if I went to bed, like, before my therapy session, that I wouldn't make it, like I wouldn't wake up or something, you know? And so I was like, I'll watch the show and then I'll review it, like, this afternoon or whatever. And I ended up watching the whole series, and then I made a cup of coffee, and I was like, I got real inspired, and I was like looking through my list of things to do, and I also wrote down over there a list of like videos that I wanted to make, and even on my BookTube channel, and I just started filming. I made a drama video, and then I filmed my BookTube video, and then I filmed my Peterisms video, and then I started rendering those and getting those uploaded. They're uploading right now. And then I filmed my Peter Dusta video outside, showing my cozy patio. And then I took Boo Radley out again. And then he's been outside a lot. Even though it's cold, he's like wanting to run around a lot outside. I don't know why. But anyway, so I filmed the front porch patio. And then I did my review video, and all of those videos are rendering, and they're going to be up, ready to go up this afternoon. I think I'm just going to schedule them to go up later this afternoon, because if I post them like this early, nobody will watch them like at noon, you know? So anyway, I was like, well, and right now the clock just turned, it's 11:22. This is the earliest vlog I've ever done. 11:22 a.m. And I was like, well, I might as well vlog. And then when my therapy session is done this afternoon, I can just, I don't know, like relax. And maybe I'll order some food and watch like Wednesday or something like that. Because Alex is like 3 episodes ahead of me. So I kind of like to catch up with him so that we can, watch it together. He also wants to watch 1899, so we could watch that together as well if I, get caught up to Wednesday or whatever. It was funny, Tanya and I were talking about Wednesday last night, and I said, have you seen Wednesday? Like I said yesterday in my vlog, of course, like every show, every movie, every book that I mentioned to her, she's already seen, read, or watched. And so I said, have you seen Wednesday? She goes, that's my show. And I go, what do you mean that's your show? She goes, I love that. She goes, Wednesday is like my favorite show I've seen in forever. And I go, really? She goes, I binge watched the whole thing just in one setting. I go, did you really? She goes, oh my God, it's so good. It really is that good. It really is binge worthy. And then she made me look up this video of Wednesday dancing at her, like, the school dance or something. She thought it was like the funniest thing in the whole world, so I had to look up this dance. I didn't think it was that funny, but I haven't seen that scene in the show yet. So Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday in that show, looks a lot like Tanya's granddaughter. So we were talking about that, but yeah, so that's my day. And I don't know what time Alex gets home tonight. I didn't even ask him. I know he doesn't have anything else that he's doing. I was kind of thinking about, like, maybe getting an Uber and going to get brunch somewhere. But the thing is that I don't get done with my therapy session until 2. And so if I order an Uber, which will get me at the place to eat at like 2:30, and then that only really gives me like a half an hour to eat, so it's really not worth it, you know, unless I go somewhere to eat where there's like a lot of other things around there, if that makes sense. I guess I could call somebody and see. Maybe I'll call my friend Valerie and see. Yesterday somebody commented and they're like, you mentioned, you know, like, I don't mention everything that happens in my vlog, like, you know, like throughout the, I know it seems that way because I do this like press conference thing, but, and it was so funny because Valerie was like, I saw the comment on your vlog yesterday. Somebody commented on your vlog, my vlog, and they said something about like, you mentioned Valerie, but like, does she ever like come and like give you like a ride or take you anywhere or whatever? Actually, Valerie is somebody that comes quite a bit, and Valerie is somebody that will come and pick me up and just drive me around just to be like, wherever you want to go. Like, she's so nice about that, right? And but if we just like go to, you know, drive around for a half an hour or whatever, I don't always like mention that, you know, or I'll say in my vlog, like, I was talking to my friend Valerie, but, you know, I was in a car talking to her. I don't always, you know what I mean? So anyway, but I thought that comment was funny. But anyway, I might call Valerie or text her and see what she's doing today, see if she wants to go get brunch. I love this place called, it's my favorite place to have brunch in Indianapolis anymore. Well, I love Cafe Patachou, but it's called Big Bear's. I'm uploading a vlog right now, or I would text her. It's called Big Bear's Biscuits. Booby, hold on just a second, okay? I'm gonna have to, he's being, you guys wanna see, he's being so sweet, look. Hold on just a second, Booby. Give me just 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, my video is done uploading on my phone, so I can, I'm gonna text Valerini and see. Can you believe it's the last day of November already? Like, I really can't believe it. It's crazy, isn't it? Boo Radley, it's so crazy. So crazy that it's the last. He is so tired. His little eyes are falling asleep. He gets these little black hairs. I don't know what they are, but they're like, I don't know what it is, but it's like these little black hairs. Like, it's like, I think it's where like all of his hairs like combine together. So last night, like, Alex like cut some of them off because they kind of like bother him, you can tell, because he'll like look at them and stuff. And so like Alex cut some of them off, but he still has like one left. Don't you, little guy? He said, I slept pretty good last night. He said, and then my dad slept. Well, when I was filming all the videos, he stayed upstairs in bed, and I turned the fan off, but he was like all like nestled into the comforters and stuff like that, and he was all cozy in bed. Tomorrow, I think I'm gonna put the Christmas bedding on. Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna do the Christmas bedding. And I think I'm gonna do that video on my Peter Duff channel, filming, like, putting on the new Christmas bedding. And then Friday, I think I'm gonna do putting up the Christmas tree over there. I went down in the basement, like, I don't really have that much Christmas stuff. I have like this little, like, Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. I might put it over there. I might put the Christmas tree over there and the Charlie Brown's Christmas tree over there. I don't know. I don't really have that much Christmas stuff. I might buy a few things while Caroline and I are out on Friday. I know this is gonna sound horrible because last year I was like so excited about like decorating for Christmas and stuff like that. It's not that I'm not excited about it, but it's like I invested so much money the last 2 years on Christmas bedding and also like on stuff for the front porch, like the planters are so nice and whatever. It's like I don't want to spend tons of money on buying stuff to decorate around the house when we're only gonna have that stuff up for a month, you know? Do you see all these blankets in the corner? I mean, we have so many blankets in the corner over there. We don't need any more blankets. And that's where Alex like lays down. So that's like a body pillow turned over sideways. So we don't need like any more like blankets and stuff like that. And I actually, there's like the red Christmas blanket over there. I might put that on the front porch because I took the fall blanket. I think it's really big though. I think it's huge. I might take that one and put that on the front porch. And then, because the fall one's down in the basement, I don't know. I'll see. I'll figure it out. I do remember that I really, really liked the Christmas comforter though that we have and that it was super cozy. She must still be asleep. She's not texting me back. Valerie, did you, she did, or she's with her grandbabies. I can't believe that she'd be asleep this late. She doesn't sleep in this late. Oh man, I could though. So if I can find somebody to go to brunch, that could be like, be here like right at 2 o'clock, then maybe I'll go to brunch. I need to start making a list of things that I need to do with Caroline. Hold on a second. Oh, I've got to do all my Christmas shopping too. Caroline. Friday. One of the things that I need to do is I need to buy a planter. I don't know if you guys see this, but do you see this green plant right here? This one? You see this? Okay. I'm embarrassed to even show you guys. So it's not, well, it's because it's dusty, first of all, but I'm embarrassed to show you guys this because it's not like planted into this thing. Like it's in this, do you see this thing that it's in? Okay. So I have been meaning, this plant has been growing for years now. I have been meaning, oh, I need to dust all of that stuff. I have been meaning to, okay, that's another thing I need to add to my list today, dust. I cleaned the entire kitchen this morning. I cleaned up all of my books that need to go in the basement. I cleaned this whole area up over there. I went through all of my mail. I like put all of my mail away, all the bills away. I put everything, got rid of all of the junk mail, all of like my recovery magazines. I mean, I cleaned that entire area, cleaned the kitchen, wiped down the counters, wiped down the countertops, cleaned up the candle areas, cleaned up the coffee area. I cleaned up the whole kitchen. So I need to dust this and I need to dust the table right underneath it. Okay, so let me add that to my list, dust. I will do that this afternoon, Wednesday. Dust. Oh, I also need to go through the frozen food and see. People ask me like, what is it you do all day long? Well, go through the frozen food in the freezer to see what's expired. Do you guys do that? That's something I have to do. Well, that'll take me a good half an hour, 45 minutes to So I got to do that. I got to do all my Christmas shopping today. So yeah, I got my videos done pretty much. Okay, so Caroline, I need to buy a planter. Because I want to plant that plant because I think it will start doing really, really well. Like, first of all, like I water it like once a week, and within like 2 days, it is completely dried up, like dry as a bone. And that plant has, I mean, I've had that plant. I don't even know what it is, what kind of plant it is. It is done so well. I mean, I've had it now for like 3 or 4 years and it's just thrived. So I think if I had it like in fresh soil where I actually had a chance, I think it would just be like, it would take over this house probably. You know what I mean? So anyway, I need to get a plant because see, Alex, this one right here, that black one, I don't know if you can see it or not. He brought that home, well, he bought the planter at this nursery. He was so excited about it. He went there and he picked it out and he brought the little plant thing from home, and then he went in the garage and he was so excited. Maybe he went on the back patio, I don't remember, but he was so excited about it. And he was like, oh my God, it's doing so well and it's growing so well. And so, you know, we're horticulturists now at this house. So, but basically we are. Although my plants over here, they're not doing very well. She's doing okay. But the one next to it that I got at the grocery store, it's like, it looks like bugs ate it or something. I don't know what's going on with it. Caroline Friday. Okay, Crumble or Starbucks. I'm going to do a review at one of them. I don't know which one yet. I didn't do a review at Crumble last week. And it wasn't, I don't think it was any new cookies. So, I don't know. And this week I looked and I don't think it's any new cookies. So I may skip the Crumble cookie review this week, and I may just pull through Starbucks and like Caroline try one drink and I try another one because the Christmas drinks are out. Tanya Jean and I, we went to Starbucks last night because I got to Tanya's house early. I got there like 10 or 15 minutes early. Usually I get there like right at 7:30, but I got there early last night. So anyway, because she said if you get here early, we can go and have a coffee. So we drove all over trying to find a Starbucks because the Starbucks closest to her was closed. So we go to the Starbucks and Tanya goes, oh, I'll have a venti decaf peppermint mocha. And the girl goes, she was real sweet about it, but she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, but we're out of peppermint. It's Christmas. How are you out of peppermint? Okay. So then Tanya's like, oh, well then I'll have like the iced cookie or something like that. And she goes, oh, we're out of that too. And so Tanya goes, okay, well, I'll just have a vanilla, whatever. And so they had that. So then I ordered it and I said, well, I'll have, now listen what she said. I said, I'll have the caramel brulee latte, okay? And she goes, oh, we're out of caramel. I said caramel, she said caramel. That's Indiana for you, first of all, okay? So anyway, she goes, oh, we're out of caramel. And I go, oh. And she goes, yeah. She goes, we're out of peppermint. We're out of the sugar cookie. We're out of caramel. She's like, but we can do anything. Basically, they're out of all of the holiday flavors, right? I said, can you do like a cinnamon dolce kind of thing? She's like, oh yeah, because I used to always drink, like, before I just went to coffee. I mean, I used to drink coffee like in high school and stuff like that. But when... like back in the day when like Starbucks like first came around and I was real excited about it, I would always get cinnamon dolce lattes when they first came out. I was like obsessed with them. In fact, my ex and I, we went to New York City because he had like a hair class that he was taking there. And so we went there, and when he was at his class, I just walked around New York City. This is the one and only time I think I've ever been to New York City and like actually like walked around and looked at touristy kind of stuff. And there's like a Starbucks on every corner in New York City. But first of all, so I just wanted to see all the sights of like things that were in movies and whatever. I ended up, actually, I went to Ground Zero. They weren't done completing like the memorial yet, so I didn't really get to see a lot of it. Although I do remember, I still tell this to people when I talk about it, because Alex's best friend, Sarah, she just went to New York not too long ago, and she went to the memorial for 9/11 and stuff. I remember thinking, like standing there, the weirdest thing about it is, like when you see it on TV and you've never been to New York City before, it appears that like the Twin Towers are like on the edge of the water, like on the edge of New York City. They're in the middle of New York City. Like, I mean, like the planes came through the city. Like, it's a surreal feeling when you're standing there. Like, I never really knew that until I was standing there. And just to imagine the impact of like, I just can't even imagine. I really cannot even imagine to this day. But so yeah, I like during the day when he was in class, I would get coffee and I would get cinnamon dolce lattes at Starbucks, and I would just like walk around. I went and looked at the library, and because that was in a couple different movies. It was in that movie that, you know, with Jake Gyllenhaal where it's like frozen. What is that movie? Something. I love that movie. I'd love to watch. We'll pull that up today, Boo Radley. If we can find out what that's called, we'll just look it up on the Google. What is it called? Let's look up Jake Gyllenhaal movies. Hold on a second. I know somebody out there is like saying, you guys, I just Googled Jake, and you know the first thing that came up was Paul. Like, that's a scary time in our world, okay? When that movie Nightcrawler was really good. The Day After Tomorrow. I loved that movie. And so, it, like, do you remember when they're in the library and the boat comes down the street and all that kind of stuff? The ship comes down the street. But anyway, the ship. I said ship. I didn't say the other word. We don't cuss over here. No swears. But anyway, and then I didn't go into, I went like a little bit into Central Park, but not too far. And then I went like past Tiffany's and stuff like that. I just walked around the city a little bit. It was kind of cool, you know. We actually stayed in Times Square. We were put up in this hotel called, by the salon that he worked at, called the Paramount, I think it was called. And it was this really artsy hotel. It was actually right next to the Church of Scientology. I don't know how I remember that, but we got there and like we went up to the hotel room, and the hotel room was really bizarre. It was like very, 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 very small. And, should I tell this story? Well, my ex could be a little bougie sometimes. So anyway, the hotel was cool. It was like the background of the bed was like all like, it was like a painting, but it was like the back to a bed. And it just was, it was kind of a weird hotel room. I don't know how to explain it. So he was like, I don't want to stay here. And I was like, what? And he was like, look online and see if the W in Times Square has anything. And I was like, what? And he goes, I don't want to stay here. So we were like, in 10 minutes, we were booked into the W in Times Square. It was totally worth it though, because we had a corner room and we literally looked right over Times Square. And it was like, I mean, here's the deal. I don't really care if I ever go to New York City and spend any kind of quality time there again. Like, Alex has been there a couple times. He loves it, but I don't really care. Like, first of all, it is expensive as hell. Number two, I mean, I remember he and we went, it was the night of the Golden Globe Awards, and we went and ate at like a Hula Hands in Times Square, or some kind of like Applebee's kind of restaurant, you know, and we had 2 cheeseburgers, 2 fries, and 2 Cokes, and the bill came to like $120. I was like, what? We ate at some other cool places too, but like, I mean, that wasn't the coolest place, but we ate at some cool places. But I mean, I remember New York being so expensive, and I was like, this is like unbelievable, first of all. Number two, you know, like when the song, like, I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll, like, I'm a little bit city, I'm a little bit country, like, and I think people know that by now. Like, I'm not like a big, like, people say, well, you say you're not really a city person, but yet you love Miami. There's something about Miami. I don't know how to explain it. There's something about Miami that doesn't have a big city vibe to it, even though it is a big city vibe. It's like you have space to walk outside, right? Like there's trees, there's the ocean and things like that. And I know New York has the same thing, but it doesn't feel that way to me. It feels very much just like you're on top of each other and people are moving past each other very fast. And it's just like I didn't enjoy it. Like it just... If I never went there again, I'd be completely fine in my life, right? I mean, I would love to, I've never been to Boston. I would love to see Boston. You know, one trip that Alex and I talked about wanting to take, it stopped. You know, one trip that I've wanted to take that Alex and I have talked about because I don't think he's ever been there either is Washington, D.C. I've never been to Washington, D.C. I didn't do the 7th grade trip. And I've always wanted to go, you know? I think especially since I've gotten older, and I have more of appreciation. There's a lot of things there that I would really, really like to see. I would like to see the Holocaust Museum. I just would like to walk around and see certain things, you know. I loved when I was like growing up, as a kid, I loved old movies. And the original... What's her name? It's Judy something. But the original Born Yesterday, have you guys seen it? They remade it with Meg Ryan, and I feel like they destroyed it. But Born Yesterday. Judy Holliday. It is so good. And if you don't know what it's about this guy, and he's like a mobster, and he's doing business in Washington, D.C., and so he has this girlfriend and she's like Scotch drinker, smokes cigarettes, plays cards, right? And like, you know, real good looking and like likes fashion. And so he hires this guy to like take her places and basically entertain her. And it's kind of like a play on My Fair Lady a little bit. And because I haven't seen the movie in forever, I'm kind of talking out of my butt right now because I don't really remember a whole lot about it. But what I do remember is it's kind of a play on My Fair Lady because this guy, like, he takes her to all these places, right? And, like, educates her about, like, Washington, D.C. and what all this stuff is and basically, you know, what this country was built on and things like that. And through this, she kind of falls in love with this guy, too. But, like, through this... she like comes into her own and becomes her own person and realizes like what freedom is, kind of, you know. And it's just really powerful movie. I remember watching it as a kid and just being really struck by it. And there's this scene that's kind of like this montage when she's like walking around all these different things and they play this music and she's just kind of looking at it, and you can tell like in that moment that she is like really taking it in. It's like the first time that she's really been like kind of like profoundly affected by these things. And I can remember watching that and thinking that like I kind of wanted to like experience something similar to that, you know, and hadn't experienced anything similar to that. So I've traveled to some amazing places in my life. I've had just, you know, I think about some of the trips that I've taken with especially with my dad and my stepmom, you know, like in my life that really opened my eyes up to things or just made me see other parts of the world or whatever, and a want for different things or dream in a different way. But there's so many places that like most people go to that I never went to, if that makes sense. I also kind of like to go to the Pacific Northwest, honestly. Like I've never been to like Portland or Seattle or any of those places. I would really like to go up there. I think it's supposedly beautiful. I think it's supposed to be beautiful. They say supposedly, it's supposedly beautiful. But anyway, yeah, Boston I've never been to. Provincetown I would love to go to. I think that would be really fun. Alex actually asked me that too long ago. He was like, I'm kind of like weird when it comes to like all gay cities. Like, I know this is going to sound strange, but like Oh, no, no, no. He was asking me about Fire Island. He said, would you go to Fire Island? Because it's a big part of American Horror Story NYC. And I said, I think I would go to Fire Island today. I think, you know, the whole concept of like, and I loved the movie that they just did recently about Fire Island, but like the idea of like Fire Island and drugs and drinking and things, I mean, it doesn't have to be that. I mean, there's writers that have gone there for years. There's people that have had houses there. Do I know that Fire Island, there's a huge part of it that is about the partying and the hooking up and the stigma and the free sex? Yes, that's a huge part of Fire Island, right? But would I go to Fire Island just to experience it as a gay man? Sure, I would absolutely do that. I would love to go to Provincetown, Massachusetts in the summertime, you know, and see all the parades and, you know, the drag queens and all the kind of stuff. I think that that would be really, really fun. I'm not as like, you know, here's the thing. So I came out at 18. By the time that I got sober, I was kind of burnt out on like just going to gay bars. Like, I mean, I literally went like every night, right? And would go to Chicago and go to Boys Town in Chicago and then, you know, go to Louisville, and it was always gay, 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 gay. And so by the time that I got sober, I was kind of over it a little bit and still was going to those places like after, you know, a year or two, you know? And so I just, like, I didn't, hell, I met my first boyfriend, like, going to a drag show, I think it was around Halloween, and, I don't know, I was just kind of over it at that point. So, like, when we go to, like, Fort Lauderdale or whatever, to, like, we'll go to the gay bars, and we'll go to, you're acting so tired, what's wrong with you, or are you just stretching? He said, don't worry about me, I'm just stretching. I fed him some breakfast this morning. He kind of nibbled at it a little bit. You know, like, and I'll go to the shops and the stores and stuff like that. But, like, if I were to move to Fort Lauderdale, like, Wilton Manors would not be the place that I would move. Like, I wouldn't want to, like, if I moved to Chicago, if I found something that I loved that was in Boys Town, I would not move into Boys Town, but I wouldn't like move to Chicago to live in Boys Town, if that makes sense. Like, I know a lot of people do that because they feel more comfortable there. I'm very proud of who I am. I'm very proud of who I love, and I'm very proud of being gay and being married in my life today. I also don't want it to define every aspect of my life. And I feel like, you know, I know quite a few gay men. I can't speak of this to my lesbian friends because I feel like most of my lesbian friends, like Alex and I have, I think people know this, we have like a lot of heterosexual friends. You know, we have some gay friends, not a lot, you know. Alex keeps in touch with his friends from college, and I have 2 or 3 friends that I keep in touch with, but other than that, like, I mean, we just don't really, I mean, I don't go out to gay bars or anything like that, you know. But like, I would say my lesbian friends, well, most of my lesbian friends are like married and have kids, in all honesty, and so like, they kind of like are friends with other couples that have kids. It's not whether they're gay or straight couples, it's just other couples that have kids, you know, which I think is most people today. But, you know, I know a lot of gay guys that I think because of the world that we live in today, like, they travel all in groups of gay guys. They live in exclusively pretty much gay areas. They do just a lot. I think it's because it feels safer and it feels freeing, and they can be whoever they want to be in that kind of environment. And I say go for it. I say if that's who you want to be, go for it. I also don't feel like I'm who I want to be whenever, you know, like, it was interesting because I have this guy that came up to me last night. I know him kind of at the meeting, but we split up into groups. And so he said to me after the group, after the meeting, he said, can I talk to you for a second? I said, yeah, sure. And he said, do you know why I came to that group to sit with you, or to sit? And I said, no, why? Because it was interesting, the group that I sat in last night was like all women except for he and I. And so, which is not typical of this meeting. It's like there's just not a lot of women that come to this meeting. And he said, I hadn't sat in a group with you for a while. This was a really huge compliment. So I just want to say, before I pat my own back for this really meant a lot to me that he said this. And I said, oh, okay. And he goes, and every time I sit in a group with you, he said, you either get really emotional talking about something that is really heartfelt to you, that you're very passionate about. He said, or you get very excited and very happy about something very simple and something very minimal. He goes, but either way, you make me really appreciate life in your gay fabulous way. And he goes, and I hope that I'm not offending you by saying that, but he goes, it is just gay fabulous. And I just kind of laughed. I go, I'm not offended by that at all, right? And so we were talking, and, you know, he said, I just really, really appreciate that when you come to meetings, like, you just are so yourself. Like, you share stories of your life, and you just are so, you know, unapologetically yourself. And I said, I appreciate that. And I said, you know, I haven't always felt that way and felt that comfortable to be myself here. And I said, you know, there were many, many years that I would come in and I wouldn't shake anybody's hand and I wouldn't talk to anybody and I wouldn't share anything about my life. And I said, and then I went out for 4 years and I didn't use, I said, but I had no spiritual foundation. I had no emotional sobriety. And I was like dead inside, suffering, dying. And I said, when I came back in, I said, I decided that it was going to be different. And so, because, you know, the meeting that I go to, I don't talk about this often. You know, I talk about all of the great things about sobriety and whatever. It's been a real bitch for this one, okay? You know, there's a lot of gay meetings in my town. I've never gone to those meetings. I went to a few when I got sober. I know a lot of gay men that they exclusively only go to gay meetings. But I believe a lot in mixed meetings and going, you know, to whatever. So that's what I did. And when I first got sober, there wasn't really a gay community of meeting, like a gay community of recovery. So I just went to wherever meetings were more convenient for me, which is why I started there. But they've always been very welcoming of me. I will say that. They've always been extremely welcoming of me. Several years ago, I talked about my friend that had passed away. And when he died and I went to his funeral, so many of them came up to me and said, like, it would be really nice to have your experience, strength, and hope and your longevity at meetings, because we don't have tons of, like, you know, gay guys that have been sober for a long time. We would love to have you come in and share. And honestly, a lot of it is that it just kind of makes me nervous to go to meetings that I've never been to before and walk in and be like, I'm here, you know, whatever. But for this one, it has not been easy, okay? And let me tell you why. Because all of my friends that were women had women sponsors and were friends with women. And, you know, so it's that whole thing when you're at a dinner and, like, one woman goes to the bathroom, they all go. You know what I mean? It was that. And so then I'm just sitting there, you know, or they all kind of, like, I remember, like, back in the day at my home group, it was like if a woman came into the meeting and, like, this was back when we had it at this Union Hall place, and she was, like, crying or something had happened or she had gone back out and started using again. It was like one woman would go talk to her and then take her outside, and then, like, all the other women from the meeting would leave and go, like, outside, and they would have, like, an exclusive, like, women's meeting, which is appropriate, right? But I don't fit in that. And then the majority of the men that come to my meeting are all over the age of 65 and have a couple things in common. They're married and have wives, and they've been married for 30 plus years. They golf and they spend the winters in Florida. None of those things do I do, okay? And so I didn't have anything in common with these guys. And I felt very much like they kind of looked down on me and they didn't really understand me, and they just thought I was kind of foo-foo and whatever, you know? When I came back in after going to, and this is where, like, it really is important to know in life, not just, you know, in recovery, that what other people think about me is none of my damn business. When I came back in, I started talking to those men, you know, some of which I had known for a long time, but many of them I didn't. And, you know, it was funny. I sat down next to this guy last night who's become one of my dearest friends, and he's somebody that I would have been scared to death to talk to, you know, 20 years ago. And like I came in and like he like slapped my hand and whatever, and he said something, and like they were asking for like volunteers, and he volunteered, and I think I said thanks for your service, and he goes, why don't you go with me? And I go, oh, no, I'm busy. And he goes, you're an asshole. I go, I know. You know, I mean, it's just kind of like that. Like we have this kind of like, you know, just this kind of, I don't know, this I have a relationship with these men today that I didn't have before, but I had to step outside of my comfort zone. That's my Boo Radley. We gotta stop the alarm. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm actually not sure why my alarm went off. That was not my phone alarm, but my alarm that I set across the room. I must have set it for noon, because it's noon. Well, it's 12:11 now, because I took a little break from vlogging so that I could, I'm not going to vlog for a whole lot longer, but so that I could get the rest of my videos uploaded so that they are ready to go this afternoon, and that I can take a little bit of a nap this afternoon. My eyes are starting to kind of get tired, and I have about 49 minutes until my therapy session, so I want to make sure that all of my videos are uploaded and ready to go. I think Boo Radley might have gone over. I put his food on the stairs today, so we put it on a plate, and but like if we put it in his house, he like kind of shoves it places because it like, you know, doesn't sit in one. It's like a glass plate, so it doesn't sit in one space. So I put it on the carpet on the stairs because I thought maybe that way it'd be easier for him to eat. And he was actually eating a little bit of it earlier, so I'm hoping that he'll snack on it throughout the day, maybe. Yeah, I think I can hear him eating a little bit of it. So anyway, I was talking about going to meetings, and it wasn't easy for me because I just didn't feel, I felt very lonely for a long time. You know, I had my friend group as far as like Tanya and my sponsor and like my other friends that I had in that group. But outside of that, like, you know, I've talked about this like in videos on my Peter Does Stuff channel, and I've talked about it on here and whatever, but I don't think people really truly understand like how bad my social anxiety is. Like I was actually thinking about this today. Like I was taking Boo outside, and I was thinking about like, I was thinking about different food that I could order, you know, or whatever. What was I thinking? I was thinking about food that I could order, but I was actually thinking, I was thinking about, I could just get on Amazon Prime and I could order these twinkle lights for the front porch. And I was like, you really never need to leave the house if you don't want, I mean, if you wanted to just be a complete recluse and never leave the house and never see, I mean, now it's like whenever you order food, whether it's a pizza or whatever you deliver, you know, there's an option, it says on there, like, do you want them just to leave it by the door and not see you face to face? So you would really never have to ever encounter another human being ever, you know, like, and I think for people like me, it can be kind of dangerous because, like, I am somebody that so struggles with social anxiety that it's easy for me to isolate and not be around other people and not interact with people, just because, you know, it's just, like I said, it's just easier that way, you know? Sometimes it's just, there's a lot of effort, a lot of work that I have to put into, I mean, not probably any more than anybody else, but like what comes naturally to other people doesn't come so naturally to me, or didn't in the past. So the battery's at the halfway mark, so I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. But so, you know, I would have to put in a lot of work. So for example, if you go into some situation and you go up to somebody and you're like, hey, it's nice to meet you, I'm Judy Smith, right? Like, that's not easy for me. Like, that takes a lot of me working myself up. Like, that's a lot of fear and anxiety for me of what might they think of me, and will they think I'm weird for introducing myself to them, and what will they think of me afterwards, and will they talk about me? I mean, that's what would go through my head in the past, right? When I came back, what I had to realize was it just didn't matter. And that I had to really get behind the idea that what other people think about me is none of my business. And I also had heard this lead, somebody sharing their story. When I came back in, I would listen to a lot of leads online that you can download or listen to. Like, you can Google, like, or search on YouTube, like, you know, 12-step leads or whatever program, AA, NA, CA, whatever, Al-Anon, and just put in story or lead and it'll pull up on YouTube if you want to listen to them. And so I was listening to this one, and it was this woman that had gotten sober when she was younger, and she said something that I love, and I live by this still. And she said, you know, with the whole idea of like falling off the wagon. Have you guys heard of that term before? Like going back to drinking or relapsing. She said, it's hard to fall off the wagon when you're sitting in the middle of it. Meaning that if you're surrounded by recovery and you're being of service and you're reaching out to other people and you have friends that are in recovery and you're texting people and doing social activities with people and going to meetings and whatever, like it's really hard to go back to what you were doing before. And I wanted that so badly this last time that I came back in. You know, like Tanya always says, I think when you came back in, which was like 10 years ago, that you really came in with like the gusto and the passion of a newcomer, because I really, really wanted what I had seen my friends have before, which was this internalization of recovery and in these relationships that I had fringe moments of that. Like with Tanya and I, we always had that, you know, but I didn't have that. I had good relationships with my sponsors, but I didn't have that total connection that I had seen like my female friends have with their female sponsors and my male friends have with their male sponsors. And I wanted that so deeply, you know? But one of the things that I really had to realize, and so like so much of me not feeling connected to people was my wondering what they thought about me, and I just had to get over it, you know, and I just had to put my hand out, and I had to start talking to people, and I had to start introducing myself to people. And I can remember like going to meetings and going to my home group and being like, hey, it's good to see you, and I haven't seen you in a while, or like, yeah, I was, you know, missed you last week or whatever. And even if it was like somebody that I hadn't talked to like ever in my life, you know, there was this guy that, well, the father of the other person I was telling you about, it's like so funny because he's been sober for like ever, you know. And I said to him one time, I said, you know, there was a long time that I like never talked to you in this meeting, that I was like so scared of you. And he was like, scared of me? And I was like, yeah, I was like scared of you. And he was like, why? And I was like, because I didn't even think that you knew who I was. He goes, I can remember the day that you walked in the door. You know, but we don't think that way, right? And so I don't know, I think like you have to really do the work. How did I even get talking about this? I don't remember, because this was before my alarm went off, but I'm so grateful that I did. I'm so grateful that I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And you want to get back up here, buddy? You want to come up here? Come over here. Come here, honey. You just had a drink of water, I can tell. Your mouth's all wet. He said, of course I did, Dad. Oh, and you were eating some food? I can smell it. Good boy. You want to say hi to everybody? He said, I'm happy today, Dad. We've been working and we've been running around and I've been getting able to go outside several times. Okay, you go over there and lay down for a little bit. So, I'm so grateful that I did the work, you know? I'm so grateful that I stepped outside the comfort zone, my comfort zone, like I said, because it was so worth it in the long run. Like, and I was so terrified of it. Like, I was terrified to say hi to somebody. I don't know. This whole thing with social anxiety is so weird. You know, it's like, it doesn't hit me today the way that it used to at all. But I never know when it's gonna happen, you know? Like, and in the past, it was like real bad. Like, I can remember, like, let's say if we had something to go to, like a birthday party, right? And like a birthday party dinner. and it was something that we were supposed to go to as a couple. And I would be, let's say, you know, completely fine. Like I would think like, oh, I'm going to be fine. This will be fun. Like it will be whatever. Like I wouldn't really think anything about it. And then maybe I would be talking to like Melissa or something. And Melissa would say, I don't even know how to explain how it would happen. I'm just going to come up with something. But like Melissa would say, well, do you know the Smiths? Like the Smiths are going to be there. And I'd be like, no. Like, I don't know the Smiths. And I could know every other person there. But let's say if I didn't know the Smiths. And she would say, oh, you'll love them. They're great. You'll love them, right? And all of a sudden, I would start spiraling about this couple that I didn't know. And what were they going to think about me? And what had they, you know, what did other people say about, you know, I mean, it was like just craziness. The social anxiety of being so worried and being so terrified. And like, and I can remember to the point where I would just be like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not going. I don't want to do it. And I'm terrified and, you know, whatever. And I missed out on so many things. Today, I force myself to go to those things. I force myself to do the things. It's not like I don't still say no to stuff. I mean, I do. I mean, there's just stuff that I don't want to do, you know, like, I mean, if Alex is going to go out to dinner with his girlfriends and it's going to be a 5-hour dinner, that's not something I enjoy. So no, I'll probably pass. But like, you know, like I'm trying to think, what did I just do? You know, I mean, I can't think of something. Well, actually, we got invited to something that we're doing in like a week or two. And Alex was like, do you want to do this? And in the past, it's something that I absolutely would say no to. And I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. Let's go do it. So, you know, it's stuff like that, it's like this like opening of something here in town. And like in the past, I would never want to do something like that. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. And, you know, the more I allow myself to do those things, the more I enjoy my life. You know, the more I stepped outside my comfort zone at meetings and introduced myself to people, the more friends I made, the more people that I would see when I went to meetings. And, you know, the more people I got to know, the more relationships I built, the more things I did that I got to enjoy. My life became fuller. It's like, why wouldn't you want those things? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes your life more enjoyable. I mean, it's not that deep, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Yeah. What do you think about that, honey? Huh? He said, I think it's nap time. Now I'm kind of like, the weird thing is, I'm kind of like waking up all over again. So maybe I won't take a nap this afternoon. Maybe I will get done with my therapy session and I will binge watch some Wednesday. I haven't heard. Has Valerie texted me back? Nope, I haven't heard back from her. She's probably doing something today. Do I have anything here to eat? Boot, do we have anything here to eat? He said, Dad, I just ate. What are you talking about? I can figure something out. Can figure something out. Or we can just wait for Dad tonight and have dinner with Daddy. Do you guys ever order a pizza just in the middle of the day? Why does that seem so weird to me? To just randomly order a pizza in the middle of the day. Is that bizarre? I mean, and the thing is that whenever I order pizza, like Alex and I, well, he has pizza in the refrigerator anyway, because is it still in there? He was eating some of it last night. Because when we got pasta the other night, I got pasta, he got pizza. It is so windy and cold outside, you guys, today. Do you hear the wind? It's like cracking, like. That's the wind, boo. Okay. That's the wind, boo. But like whenever we order pizza, what was this? Whenever we order pizza, I always eat like 2 pieces, maybe 3 max. Really never though. Like we'll get breadsticks and everything, and I'll have like 2 pieces and a breadstick, and then like I put the rest of it in the fridge and eat it over the course of like 3 or 4 days. So I'll get so excited about, like, if I ordered a pizza today, I'd get so excited about ordering this pizza, and then I would order it and pay all this money because pizza is expensive as sin these days. I think pizza is so expensive anymore. And then it would come and I would eat like 1 or 2 pieces, and then I would be full, bless you, for the rest of the day, and I wouldn't want to eat anything for dinner tonight, and I'd be like so full and be like, and for what? For 2 pieces of pizza? I'd rather go to Big Bear's Biscuits and have my veggie biscuits and gravy because it's so delicious. Bless you. You're having all kinds of sneezes, aren't you, honey? He said, I sure am. I'm allergic to something in this place, and it must be your stories. Are you allergic to my stories? All right, well, I'm going to get off here now. I can't believe it's 12:26 and my vlog is already over for the day, but I think I did close to an hour. I'm not sure how long it is, but I think it's about close to an hour. So anyway, should be. We're going in. This is the last vlog of November of 2022. So I'm glad that I'm getting up a little bit early, and you guys can maybe watch this a little bit earlier today and all of my other videos that I did. And yeah. So thank you for hanging out with me today. And can you believe I've got all this done so early? Can we just talk about that? I deserve gold stars and A+ today. And my battery is flashing that it's dying. So with that, that is the sign that it's time for me to get off here. My other battery is in the kitchen. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. My other battery is in the kitchen because I filmed all those other videos and it is charging. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. This was fun and I had a really good time, and I'm excited about going into December and telling all kinds of recovery stories because it's my recovery month. My sobriety birthday is December 17th, as well as all kinds of Christmas and holiday stories. I'm going to tell all kinds of memories of the past and things like that. And yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Wednesday. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. 2, don't tell anyone, but you can start your day over. No, that was number 1. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, that was 2. But 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. And you might just be putting a smile on their face or really changing their day and making them feel so much better. And anytime I get a random text from somebody that I haven't heard from in a while, it just really cheers me up and makes me so happy. So you have the ability to do that as well for somebody else. So, and there's so many people out there that don't get to hear from people on a regular basis. So be that person that, you know, changes. What's the saying? What's the Gandhi quote? Be the change you want to see in the world. You know, put some peace and love out there. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.